Hello Nintendo Wii here, welcome back to Let's Play Retro Games. I'm so excited because this weekend is the London Retro Gaming Market. So in this video I'm just going to be talking about 10 games that I hope to find at the event. So I have quite a few things in particular that I'm looking for. Also at the event I hope to record a lot of footage and maybe do some sort of tour of the event as well. I might even try recording it in 4K, so we'll see how that goes. I'm not making any promises because I know these events can get really crowded, so fingers crossed that I actually manage to get enough footage to make a separate video about it. The first few games here, if you watched my last video you'll know that I picked up this backlit Game Boy Pocket here, so I'm definitely on the lookout for some more Game Boy games to play on the system. I've been really enjoying Final Fantasy Adventure, so one of the games, or one of the series of games that I'm looking for at the event is the Final Fantasy Legend series for the Game Boy. I've heard the second one's the best out of the three, and don't really bother with the first one, but to be honest, I'd be happy if I found any of them. I'm really loving Final Fantasy Adventure, and I'd love to get the other games in the series for the Game Boy. Another Game Boy game that I really want to get, I know this one's fairly expensive, but I've seen it around a few places recently. This is Snow Brothers. I love the single-screen platformer style games, like the kind that Taito used to make for the arcades, like Bubble Bobble or Rainbow Islands. Snow Brothers looks just like that. You get to roll up the enemies into little snowmen and you finish one little level and move on to the next. It looks like a really fun, simple game, and I think it'd be really fun to play it on the Game Boy Pocket. A game that isn't compatible with the Game Boy Pocket, unfortunately, because this one's a Game Boy Color only title. As I'm sure you know if you've seen some of my other videos, I've been playing Lufia 2, and I'd really like to get the other games in the series. So Lufia 3 is on the Game Boy Color, and there's also Lufia on the Game Boy Advance. I'd really be excited to find either of them too. This is one that I actually picked up at the last event I was at in Birmingham. This is Bionic Commando. I'm really hoping to find one of the Game Boy versions of Bionic Commando. There's one for the original Game Boy and there's one for the Game Boy Color as well. And both of them actually look really good, so it'd be really interesting to see how they took the NES game and put it into a Game Boy system. And as well as that, I'm also planning on doing another collaboration with the Beard Gaming, where we're going to be doing another retro and modern video about Bionic Commando in the future. So either way I'm going to end up with the Game Boy games at some point, but they are ones that I'm looking for at the expo. So that's it for Game Boy. Another system that I've become really enthusiastic about collecting for recently is the SNES. Obviously I got the Super NT and it is amazing, so I've got a lot of SNES games to try and find. I have a huge list on here. Yeah, I won't go through all of them, but I don't know if you can see it there. There's a list of some of the SNES games that I'm looking for. Most of these come from either recommendations on YouTube or from that SNES Visual Compendium book that I showed off a few episodes ago. It's a really amazing book, and I'm just going to pick a few of them that really caught my eye. The first one is Paladin's Quest. I don't think it's too expensive. I actually remember seeing it at one of the previous game markets. That's one that I'd really like to get, just because the graphics look really nice, to be honest. There's a few other RPGs that I want as well, like the Breath of Fire series, maybe one of the Final Fantasies, Mario RPG. I don't actually own any of them games, but the ones that I've got written down here, Paladin's Quest, as I just said, and the other one is a game called Equinox, and I really want to get this because Plock is one of my favourite games on the system, and Equinox was actually also made by the Pickford brothers. So that's a game I'd be really excited to find. And just like Paladin's Quest, it has some really nice graphics as well. Two more SNES games. One of them I know is quite surprising that I don't actually already have it, although I seem to think that about a lot of games these days. That is the Lost Vikings. It's also available on the Mega Drive, but I've always wanted to get it on the SNES, just because I'm a Nintendo kid, you know. Lost Vikings looks like a really interesting game, and it's just interesting to see where Blizzard got their start before going on to make the hugely successful World of Warcraft franchise, or just Warcraft in general. So Lost Vikings is another game that I'd be looking to find for the SNES. And the last game I have on this list, a lot of people really like the N64 games in the series, but I actually want to go back and have a look at some of the earlier titles, and that is The Mystical Ninja starring Goemon. I remember seeing this at a few events as well, so I'm really looking out to pick this one up. I've never actually played any of the Mystical Ninja games, and I hear they're all really good, so even if it's the N64 ones that I find, I'm definitely going to be picking up one of them at the show. And while we're on the topic of 16-bit systems, Here's a few Mega Drive or Genesis games that I'm looking for. I pretty much know I'm guaranteed to find both of these because I've seen them at pretty much every game market that I've been to. The first one, Shinobi 3. Yep, I don't actually have Shinobi 3. I hear it's an incredible game. I really love the original Shinobi that's on the Mega Drive and Shinobi on the Master System as well. And I hear that the third one is even better than them. So if I do manage to find Shinobi 3, I know it's not going to be cheap, but I'll probably end up getting it because it's a game that I've been wanting for a long time. And I've never even played it on an emulator, so it'll be completely new to me. And another game that I've been after for a long time and I keep putting it off, although maybe I shouldn't have put it off for so long because this game seems to be going up in price quite a lot. That is Ristar. I remember seeing it at MCM and Comic Con around 10-ish years ago for about 20 quid, but now it seems to be about 60 on average, so if I find it for 60 or less I might get it, but again it's a game that I feel like I really missed my chance to pick up when it was affordable, really. So thank you very much for watching. This was just a quick video and I'm super excited about Sunday. I'll be posting a video on Monday of a tour of the event, or maybe Sunday, depending on what time I get back. And then later on next week I'll be posting my game pickups. I'm going to look back at this video before I do my pickups and see how many of these games I actually got. So thank you very much for watching. Please comment, rate and subscribe. Check out my Patreon in the description and I'll see you in the next episode. I would usually say next week, but I'll see you in 3 days.